Hey everybody, this is Brent Arnold, and I want to talk about creating an ad hoc provisioning profile. Now, this assumes, of course, that you have already known how to register, you've got your iOS developer account, and that you have access to the iOS provisioning portal. You've probably already created a developer certificate, you've already added devices, you've created app IDs, you've done provisioning profiles for development. So this is all second nature, right? You know how to do this. If you're not familiar with these things, go through my other tutorials that talk about creating these certificates and all that good stuff. Now, we want to talk about distribution, specifically what they call ad hoc distribution. Now, this is sometimes people get frustrated because it's a difficult process. How do where do you do this? How do you figure it out? Well, of course, you read the manual, right? Well, that's what everybody says. Read the friendly manual. So here I am. I'm within the distribution tab section, and I clicked on creating and downloading a distribution provisioning profile for ad hoc distribution. Now, it clearly says team agents, go to provisioning, select the ad hoc radio button, enter the name, choose the distribution, select up to 100 UDIDs. There you go, blah, blah, blah. Simple, right? I mean, all you got to do, follow the instructions. All right, let's do it. Let's follow the instructions. Go to the provisioning pro portal profile. Now, it says click the ad hoc radio button, okay? Go ahead, click the ad hoc radio button. You don't see it either. Well, that's because they're missing instructions. Let's look at that one more time. Let's just make sure. Okay, make sure we read it right. So navigate to provisioning. Select the ad hoc radio button. Okay. I'm just putting you guys on. These instructions are so outdated. I have no clue what they're thinking. Anyway, sure, there's more stuff down here. This gives you a big clue as to what it is. I don't know why they can't write instructions that clearly identify this, but you click provisioning, then you click distribution, then you create a new profile, then you see the ad hoc radio button. So anyway, blah-de, blah-de, blah. Let's do this. For realsies, click provisioning. Now, go to distribution. At this point, you would select new profile. And here you see the ad hoc radio button. This is what we've been looking for. Oh, by the way, you can select up to 200 devices. This is pretty new. I've not actually seen this before. Of course, I only have 3 devices, but that's okay. So this is what we're doing. We're going to create it. So we're going to say Brent's ad hoc. Okay. Now the distribution certificate is already been created because I've submitted an app before. Now let's create this, and then I'll show you what I'm talking about. Go ahead and select a app ID, and then we've got these, and then go ahead and click submit. So I want to walk you through this process here. Now, of course, it says pending. Now go ahead and refresh, and there it is. Now, this is something that is very critical to understand. See, there's the app that I created and submitted. So if I wanted to resubmit it, send an update, I would redo this deployment one. But anyway, this is where we get confused. We get confused because the naming convention where we say ad hoc provisioning profile, well, we're listed under the distribution provisioning profiles. And if you don't name your profiles properly, you're going to be confused. That's just the way it is. So here I put Brent's ad hoc, right? Well, now I know what it is. Well, here I have deployment. That's where I deployed my app. So keep that in mind. Please try to identify your certificates, identify your provisioning profiles, and your app IDs clearly so that you can distinguish between them when you go to download them. Whoops, pressed the space bar for whatever reason. Okay, so we've just created the profile. Now you saw, let's click back here to certificates. Under certificates, here we have our development certificates, right? You've done that before. When you do ad hoc, you need to use a distribution certificate. Now, this particular distribution certificate, you create it just as you would a developer one, where you only have one here because I've only got a single developer license, and so I've only got one distribution certificate because the team agent is the one that does all that, right? So if you're not the team agent, in other words, if you're a part of a group, someone else has to do this for you. All right, what I'm talking about here, if we go to Keychain Access, you've already created like a developer certificate, right? So this is where we've got the developer one. Here is my distribution certificate. So I've already created it and downloaded it. I'm not going to show you how to do that for distribution because it's the same process as developer. But with developer, you install it and it says iPhone developer. It does say iPhone distribution here, so it is a little clearer, but from the looks of it, don't get confused, okay? So we've got our certificates already downloaded, created, and we've created our provisioning profile. And the way you know that it's an ad hoc provisioning, how do you know? How do you tell? Well, you tell by clicking on distribution, and you tell based on the fact that you were smart and you created the ad hoc provisioning profile. Now, why does it matter? Well, a deployment, a distribution profile, you can't easily install it and test it. You can't share it with people that are on your device list because it's ready for the App Store. So that's the big difference. If you use a provisioning profile that you use for development, you don't get the same benefits of an ad hoc distribution. So there's a difference. You have to understand that. All right, so keep that in mind. Anyway, that's how you do an ad hoc provisioning profile. You ignore the directions and you follow my tutorial. Fairly simple. Just to quickly show you again, here it is in 30 seconds. You click provisioning, you click distribution, you click new profile, you choose ad hoc, and it will only work with a distribution certificate. If you haven't created it, then you will need to create the distribution certificate. Then you select an app ID based on, you already know how to do that. Then you select the devices that you want. Then you give this a name, and you will identify this as ad hoc. Otherwise, you're going to get confused, and then you're going to have errors when you try to compile, blah, blah, blah. I'm just warning you. Okay, very simple. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you in the next tutorial.